With your RaiderPower Minute on RaiderPower.com, I'm Joshua Cook alongside Cameron Brock as Texas Tech gets ready to take on Texas State this week at Jones AT&T Stadium. Texas Tech coming in as the 25th ranked team in the country, 3-0. Texas State coming in at 2-0. And we asked you, the fans, to ask us some questions on the forums. And Cameron, one of the questions was, when are we going to see Michael Brewer? It's really, to me, it's not a when, but an if we're going to see him. With the back injury, you never know what you're going to get. When's he going to start practicing? But it's just one of those things that you never know when we're going to see him and if we're going to see him this season.
Well, if I'm Coach Kingsbury, I would give him a medical red shirt. But with Coach Kingsbury, you just never know what's going to happen. He has surprises from all over. If he does come back, I wouldn't be surprised to see him when the Red Raiders go up to Norman to play Oklahoma. If not, then if Coach Kingsbury does want to get him back in, it would probably be around Baylor.
And that kind of gets to our next question on the forums. One fan asked, does Texas Tech win at least one of the last 5 games of the season? Well, when you really break that down, you look at the last 5 games. 2 of those games include a game against Baylor at not Cowboy Stadium, at AT&T Stadium in Dallas, Texas. And then the final game is on Thanksgiving night against the Texas Longhorns. And really, Cameron, I think you get at least 1 or 2 wins out of that final 5-game stretch. I don't think it's going to be like the last 2 seasons where you really kind of struggled down that final stretch where you didn't know if you were going to get in a bowl game or not, or you were in a bowl game. But then the question was, well, are you going to finish 6-6 or 7-5 or 8-4, or how are you going to finish? But what do you think? The Red Raiders win at least 1 in the last 5?
I know that they will win 1 of the last 5. I would go on to say they'll win 3 of the last 5. They'll win their last 3 at least. They'll beat Kansas State. They'll beat Baylor, in my opinion. And I can tell you, Texas will be a win this season. The 2 games that I question is, 1, you have to go to Norman. And the Sooners remember that 2011 game against Texas Tech. They're not going to forget that anytime soon. Broke a really long home winning streak. And the game against Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State coming off a BCS season.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly right. Oklahoma State's really the favorite right now to win the Big 12 Conference. They're rocking and rolling there with J.W. Walsh and Mike Gundy up there in Stillwater. But, it's going to be a stretch of games there at the end of the season. In October, you go 3 of your 4 games are on the road. You have to go to West Virginia. You have to go to Norman. Then you got to come home and play Oklahoma State. And that's not easy, playing a Bob Stoops team 1 week on the road, and then you got to come home and play a Mike Gundy coach team here in the Jones. And really, Oklahoma State has gotten some momentum over the last few years with bowl wins and winning seasons and quarterbacks, and just kind of everything started rolling for them up in Stillwater. I agree with Cameron. I don't know about the Baylor team yet. I don't know what Baylor's really going to do. We'll know after the next few weeks what Baylor's really got. When they start playing some Big 12 opponents, when they really go into the grind of this Big 12 schedule, we'll know what Baylor has. But I think definitely Texas, unless they make a 360-degree turnaround by the end of the season and haven't hired and fired their 8th defensive coordinator by then, or how many ever they've gone through by that point. The main fact is Texas's defense is atrocious right now. It's an embarrassment down in Austin, what's going on with Mac Brown and that team with as many 5-star recruits. It shouldn't be happening, but it is. So you really don't know what you're going to get out of Texas. At the end of the season, by that point, they might have gotten everything fixed, and we might be in trouble watching this video in a few months. But I think you win at least 2 or 3 of those games. Health will be really a question. Really, health hasn't been an issue for the Red Raiders thus far this season, knock on wood. Really hasn't been a lot of big injuries. Bo Carpenter's really been your biggest injury with the ankle. He's day-to-day. Michael Brewer was a big injury, but then step in Baker Mayfield, step in Davis Webb, and, kind of quarterback by committee it's been for this Texas Tech team. Now, the final question on the forums, Texas State, let's be honest, it's a team that they rolled over last year, 58-10 down in San Marcos. Really didn't. They made easy work of the Bobcats. Didn't really put up too much of a fight. 2 years ago, Texas State had a 10-7 lead at half. But, how does Texas Tech go into this game without having that always feared drop-off? You just beat TCU. You're in the top 25. You're 3-0, trying to go 4-0. How does Texas Tech avoid losing to the Bobcats this weekend at Jones AT&T Stadium?
I think it's just like the DeAndre Washington drop at the half-yard line. You got to make sure that you score. And Texas Tech has to make sure that they come into this game focused and ready to win. This is a football game. You got to be excited to play. You got to be excited to go out and hit somebody. And I think the Red Raiders will light up the Texas State Bobcats 63-0. I think Texas State has no match for the no-huddle offense, and Dennis Franchione has always struggled against the air raid offense.
63-0 is the prediction by Cameron Brock. You know, the fact is Texas State has scored one. That's it, one passing touchdown this year, 5 rushing touchdowns in their 2 victories. And since we're doing predictions now, I'm not going to get as gutsy as 63-0. I'm not going to say we're just going to completely roll. I think Texas State gets at least one score on some trick play or something happens that they get in the end zone. I think it's a domination by Texas Tech. I'm going to say 52-7. I think that's what the final product is going to be of this game. It's going to be a whiteout. It's a sold-out game on Saturday. And it's Texas State. You know, really, the one thing Texas Tech, the key to victory for them is don't be looking to Kansas yet. Don't be looking to your bye week. Don't be looking to Kansas, because too many times teams are going to overlook that team they're playing right now, and they're going to get Appalachian Stated, or something weird's going to happen. They're going to be wondering on Monday's press conference, well, what happened? We were the number 25 team in the country. We were ranked. We were rolling. All of a sudden, Texas State comes in and beats us. But that won't be the fact this weekend when Texas Tech takes on the Bobcats at Jones AT&T Stadium. Well, for Cameron Brock, I'm Josh Cook. Thanks for the questions. We'll see you at the stadium on Saturday. This has been another Raider Power Minute on RaiderPower.com.